28, they departed. The departure ceremony for the expedition. The participants gathered in front of the royal castle, received gracious words from the king, then listened to a speech by Julius, the first prince who would command the expedition, before setting out. The content of the speech was almost identical to what had been said at the banquet. After that, they proceeded from the royal castle to the city's main gate in something like a parade. As the citizens cheered uniformly for the prince and the saintess, when they caught sight of Saikaira, the cheers turned into murmurs. Saikaira watched it all with an empty mind and eyes like a dead fish, as usual. In fact, it had been like this even before departure in the castle square. When the ceremony ended and it was time to depart, the prince and the saintess boarded a luxurious carriage. Most of the court mages and ranked civil officials boarded mid-grade carriages, though far superior to the common public carriages, with much smoother rides. Ordinary civil officials, the prince's and saintess's attendants, cooks, and medical staff boarded simpler carriages. The knights mounted their own horses. Saikaira, as a ranked official, headed toward one of the mid-grade carriages, when a voice called from behind. "Saikaira, you're with me." "Huh." The beautiful third knight commander, who had left his room with him that morning and caused quite a stir, called out as if it were obvious. When Saikaira didn't move, Aresh strode across the cobblestones, grabbed his arm, sleeve and all, in the brand-new outfit he had personally chosen for him that morning, and led him back to his horse. Saikaira had prepared his own expedition clothes, but the previous day Aresh had subjected them to a barrage of criticism and replaced the entire set. "Hey, Aresh, you're planning to put that civil official, the deputy accounting officer, on a horse." While everyone looked on in shock, Alzif, closest to Aresh both in position and years of acquaintance, asked cautiously. Aresh nodded without changing expression. "This man has no resistance to mana, and will die if not constantly monitored. I will manage him." But wouldn't that make it even more logical for him to ride in the carriage with the medical staff? "No. This man has several other troublesome characteristics. Only I can manage him. I've been doing so all along. Taking him on this expedition is an order leaning from the first prince. If he dies, that would be a problem. Therefore, I will manage him." Saikaira inwardly tilted his head. Hadn't the thorough reapplication of the barrier yesterday been because they wouldn't be together during the expedition? Besides, he had intended to speak with Ist and the other court mages during the journey. And most importantly, he had never ridden a horse before. He had heard that riding, especially for beginners, placed considerable strain on the body. Doing so for nearly 6 days round trip would be impossible. "Commander Indrak, with respect, I have never ridden a horse. As you know, with my fragile constitution, I may not endure prolonged travel." Using his family name and title caused Aresh's eye to twitch irritably, but they were in public. "It's fine. I'll handle recovery along the way." So he intended to maintain barrier and recovery magic throughout, keeping close contact so mana would continue settling. Still, was that really reasonable? Aresh's behavior had seemed to escalate these past few days. Should he assume the demon forest was that dangerous? As Saikaira wavered between safety and dignity, Aresh produced prepared words and paper. "The knight orders expedition expense breakdown. Read it on horseback. I appreciate it." The height atop the horse was even more intimidating than he had imagined, and the unstable footing frightened him. But when Aresh mounted behind him and pressed firmly against his back and legs, his body was securely fixed. Now that I think about it, is it really fine for 2 grown men to ride together? The horse, pitch black with a beautiful mane matching Aresh's attire, seemed burdened. But Aresh's low voice denied it from behind. "No problem. Even in full armor with sword and shield, Diana can run faster than any other horse." Apparently the horse was named Diana. A mare. Even so, fatigue must accumulate, but that, too, would be resolved by the elite magic knight's excellent recovery spells. "I'd like to ride a horse too. Saintess, please remain safely inside the carriage." Seeing Saikaira held close in tandem by Aresh, Yua had spoken up, but was gently restrained by those around her. Thus, Saikaira was made a spectacle until they exited the city's main gate. Once through the gate, he was finally allowed to read the documents and flip through them. Oddly, the swaying didn't bother him while concentrating. Was this breakdown prepared by the Knight Order's administrative staff? "No. I made it." What's with that reaction? Is there a mistake? No. Far from it. The document was well organized and easy to read. Aresh, who had been far removed from clerical tasks, had prepared this? Saikaira once again confirmed that Aresh was indeed a genius, even after having his life saved multiple times. What? If you have something to say, say it. The breath and voice at his ear sounded less irritated than uneasy, but Saikaira answered plainly. No, it's very clear and well done. This repair and supplemental equipment cost. What does it refer to? Oh, that's... In any case, having work progress smoothly was welcome. Traveling alongside someone capable of producing documents like this meant a chance to learn much about the Night Order's accounting. Is not equal to 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 is not equal to. The town they reached on the first day was smaller than the capital, but vibrant with red brick tones. They arrived before sunset. Julius, Yua, their attendants, Aresh, and the other ranked officials, including Saikaira, were invited to the local lord's mansion. Most other knights and civil officials would stay at inns in town. Finally alone, Saikaira slowly stretched his stiffened body. Though Aresh had supported and healed him during the long ride, it still took its toll. Specifically, his thighs and sides hurt. This is definitely going to be muscle soreness. He dreaded riding again tomorrow, but dreaded even more that the soreness might come later. At his age, feeling pain immediately was almost reassuring. Well then, moving his uncomfortable body, Saikaira left his assigned room. He had instructed the lower-ranking civil officials to conduct interviews about the town's miasma damage. He had prepared various contingencies in case they resisted his orders. But apparently his public proximity to Aresh that morning had done the trick, and they had complied readily. He didn't realize the civil officials had secretly been unnerved by seeing him work non-stop during the journey. He headed for another room on the same floor. Knock knock. A restrained knock, no answer. He had seen the occupant enter earlier, so they had to be inside. He knocked again louder. Yees. Opening the door in a relaxed manner was Ist, deputy of the court mage division. Saikaira smiled with tired politeness. The conversation with Ist took some effort, but fundamentally, Ist was straightforward and driven by desire. People whose hobbies became their profession often were. The matter concluded sooner than expected. Leaving Ist's room, Saikaira headed downstairs toward the meeting spot with the civil officials he had sent out. Like the vibrant town itself, the mansion interior was colorful yet tasteful, ornate but not gaudy. He recalled reading that this territory had coal mines and was famous for jewelry. There was still some time before the meeting. Perhaps he could walk around town properly. He would need to return before dinner, or Aresh would surely say something. Kondo-san. Lost in thought, his reaction was delayed. Under the lighting of the landing below stood Yua, smiling and giving a small wave. Nothing ever went exactly according to plan.